pony knowledge by. Oh, better. I got a place where winning ain't tough to do. You wanna be cool, stable too. Your horse racing fantasy come true. But no, stable duel. Download the Stable Duel app and play today.
4th of July weekend. Hope everyone has a fun, exciting weekend coming up because we have a lot planned for you over at Stable Duel as we take a look at the contest schedule for the Stable Duel app. And we're joined this morning by Bree Mott to say hello to us because, Bree, it's a big weekend. All of you out there who normally watch our show, you know me, Gino Bucola, the Sniper, Barry Spears, and Matt DeSantis, who are here with you every Friday in the No Chalk Zone. But Bree, it's a great weekend, fun extra holiday weekend with the 4th of July on a Monday. And we have some big games to shoot for this weekend and some new games. So we had to bring you in to talk about this awesome schedule. How you doing?
I'm good. I feel like I'm a thorn among roses today. I mean, you guys just do this every Friday. Beautiful faces. I'm okay with that, though.
I was going to say that might be strike that, reverse it. We might be the thorns and you're the rose among the. Yeah, I was going to say. So however way you look at it, we're very happy to have you join us this morning because I know you're so busy. We get to see you traveling all over, working out deals, always trying to add new things to Stable Duel, new racetracks, new games. And this week, there are a couple new format games. Want to tell us a little bit about the new format where we're looking at the contest right now, where the top 4 split the pool?
Yeah, so called Split the Pool. So similar to like a pick 5, a pick 6, that mentality that if you win, you split the pot. So obviously it can grow, but we're going to split it between the top 4. So today we're at Gulfstream Park. So it's a $50 entry, $2,000 guarantee. So you're looking at $500 for each top 4 position. And then tomorrow we've got the Delaware Diamond. So obviously big day at Delaware Oaks. I was just looking at the 8-horse lineup. Interesting things like Brittany Russell and Jonathan Thomas training at 25% right now. A little like, I don't know. I don't know which one to go with. But anyways, so tomorrow, same thing. Split the pool. Top 4 gets an even split of whatever the guarantee, or if it grows, they'll get that too. So you just want to finish in the top 4. That's all you got to do, guys. It's not that hard, obviously. I mean, Matt, right?
Matt is one of the best Stable Duel players there is, period.
I don't know about that, but yes, finishing in the top 4, especially if it's at Hawthorne and Assiniboia, I can do it all day.
Let me stop you, Matt. I do know about that, and the numbers would tell you that you are one of the absolute best. You're consistently winning, finishing towards the top. And Bree, not only is he good, he's actually extended it on to his dad now.
I know I'm a little worried when his dad gets really good because I think his dad is going to, I mean, he'll still be a cheerleader, but I think he's going to, the head's going to get a little big when your dad gets good.
Yes, very much. Mr. DeSantis gets a very big head very quickly when he does.
He's getting a little notoriety on social media now too. You know, he's getting some buzz. People know who he is now. And
I know people are tagging him on Twitter and they're like, and I'm like, oh, Jesus, Dad. And I'm like explaining to my dad, I'm like, Dad, you're getting tagged on Twitter. You got to retweet this. And he's like, oh, I don't know who this person is. I was like, it's all right. Just trust me. Okay.
That's
so something I'll bring up too, since we are a holiday weekend and we're talking about the King of Assiniboia Downs. So we have just partnered with Assiniboia Downs. We're going to do a 5-game on Monday nights. We're calling it Monday Night Lights.
Nice.
We're doing a series with them. So the guarantees are going to be bigger. It's going to grow. And we're going to end on their Manitoba Derby day. And we're hoping, depending on like how much they love this, we might be having a $10,000 Monday night game on Manitoba Derby day.
Wow.
So
down with that.
Start to love Assiniboia Downs because we're going to be pumping the shit out of it on Sundays and Mondays.
Sundays and Monday Night Lights, clear eyes, full hearts, play, race, win. Over there we go. A little Coach Taylor action. Bree, what's really cool about this weekend too is a lot of the Stable Duel schedule for the first few months of the year is a lot of Gulfstream, Santa Anita. When Keeneland's going, there's big contests there. What's really fun about this weekend is the games on Saturday. Delaware and Woodbine, just a little bit different, right? They're not the top biggest tracks, but they're very, very good quality tracks. And it's fun when some of the other tracks get their opportunity to be in the spotlight. Both of these tracks have awesome racing on Saturday. I think both Woodbine and Delaware have 4 stakes races on their card. So if you're someone who hasn't handicapped the races a whole lot, and you play Stable Duel, it'll be fun for them, or kind of vice versa. Maybe you're really focused on those tracks a whole lot, and now will be a chance for you to take a shot at them in a Stable Duel game.
Yeah, I mean, I think the racing at Woodbine and Delaware is awesome this weekend. I know we're up against some other ones at bigger tracks, but I think these smaller tracks are sometimes even more fun to play because a lot of times you're playing the actual horses rather than the connections. I think people get kind of caught up of, like the Ortiz brothers, they ride in the Derby. So you think about them like every time you bet if they're riding, where at Delaware, something like that, you really are capping the horse past performances. You're not saying, oh, well, it's Pletcher and Irad. I just got to bet them sort of thing. Now, sometimes that pays off, obviously, but I think it's fun to look at these other tracks for sure. And yeah, we've got a nice lineup. And okay, I have a real question for you guys, though. Have you seen the Highlander movie?
Yeah.
Like the old one or the new one?
Oh, is there 2?
Like there can only be one Highlander, and that was back with Sean Connery in 1985.
Well, so I just know for some reason I know Highlander and I know the quote. And so when I saw the Highlander Stakes, we put 2 and 2 together, but I need to know if it's worth going back and watching what looks like a terrible movie.
Yes.
Or not.
No, that's a good movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Watch the movie. Watch the movie.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's worth it, I think. And one of the cool things is the Christopher Lambert, the guy who was one of the stars of the movie. I actually was in a movie with him. It was called, that's kind of a small world. How about that?
Yeah, it is.
It was called Operation Splitsville. So I did a lot of acting when I was like about 10 to 12 or 13. There's one movie on Hulu that I'm in, like I have pretty good speaking role in it. And that movie did really well. But the movie I was in before that was Splitsville. I was like a featured extra. I was a kid in a classroom, and he was one of the teachers at the school. So I actually got to interact with him a little bit. He was a pretty cool guy, but that was funny that you brought that movie up because I sort of know him. I don't know him. You wouldn't know me now.
Know him.
People know me. I'm kind of a big deal, guys. Yeah.
So we're gonna do, in light of Highlander, which I will watch that movie this weekend. I'm sure my other half will be less than impressed that I but we're doing a Highlander Stakes game, which means there can be only one. It's a winner take all. So I know some players really like that one entry kind of mentality, just trying to just get the big pot. So that's the game for you. That's at Woodbine. So Highlander Stakes game at Woodbine on Saturday.
I love it.
Awesome. There can be only one. So yeah, my dad loves this. It's something about the dads with the Assiniboia Downs, Matt. My dad loves to play Assiniboia Downs too. So it's
I think it's the fact it's only 7 races, and like as you get older, you're like, listen, I don't have time for 12 races.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
because I'll send my dad like the PPs for Keeneland sometimes. He's like, this is nonsense.
Well, you know what they do?
Like,
sometimes he won't even open it. Sometimes it's just overwhelming. They'll be like, nope, I'm not even gonna test it out. That's just too much. My dad, go ahead, Bree.
And you can tell your dad, because I know your dad doesn't like to play the higher dollars. So So for the schedule, check the schedule because there has been updates and there will be updates. The Monday game, we are going to do a free ride on Monday for your dad. But also these games that are the bigger part of the series, that entry is going to be dropped to 25. So I know that he doesn't want to play the 20, but tell him to get in there and support it. It's $25 and it's a guarantee of $2,000 and it's only going to grow. So that will be dropped.
And by the way, you should not have said we're playing the free ride just for your dad, because the head in Greenville, South Carolina is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Somehow, by the time we are done with this, he's going to have that clipped already. It's going to be like an audio clip. And he's going to have Matt's going to be like, how did you do this, Dad? Like, I don't think that you can operate that, but he's going to have had it done already. No doubt about it. I know Mr. DeSantis loves him some Stable Duel, and everyone out there is having so much fun. That's been what's great, is like we've always been saying, Bree, with Stable Duel from the very beginning, is that it's a two-way street. it will get people to play contests that they've never played before. And then on the flip side, when people are playing contests for those tracks, they will start betting those tracks. So it's a really great relationship back and forth with the tracks in with Stable Duel.
Yeah. From the beginning, it's been our mission as a whole to support the thoroughbred racing industry. And from charities that we do to the rise in handle to bringing people to new racetracks to showcasing new racetracks from Instagram takeover. I mean, that's what it's all about. It's about horse racing fans. It's about the participants and just giving back somehow to, the industry that we love. And really this game, toot toot, pretty much hits all of the round table. So
all of it. We get to hit it all. And we will give out some plays for Friday and for Saturday for some of these big games, for some of these big contests. Bree, as we were just talking about some of the new formats for the games, Assiniboia Downs feels like they're going to be one of those big contests. Are we looking big tracks that we're going to have for the next few months? Are we looking forward to Del Mar coming back in the next few weeks with Southern California? Anything else ahead that you want to? Colonial
Downs kicks
awesome.
off. Yep, Monday, July 11th. That's fantastic. And we actually will probably do a host day at the races. So just working out the date for that. So if anybody can get to Virginia and wants to hang out with a bunch of Stable Duel players, we'll be there to host you.
Cool.
But Colonial Downs. And then we're always hoping for a miracle with one racetrack that we're not going to jinx, and we're hoping to still have before opening day. But yeah, Colonial Downs is huge. Del Mar is huge. Prairie Meadows, we did add, and then we had a little bit of a hiccup from them yesterday, which is perfectly fine. We just had to hold off this weekend, but we will have Prairie Meadows, and I know people are excited for that night track. So the night track is fun. Yeah. So sorry about that for anyone that entered, but it'll be back. And yeah, I mean, we just keep trying to add, guys. That's all we're trying to do.
And we know that we can see you out there going to those tracks, trying. That's what's great. We know we see you physically going all over the place, even leaving the country.
Well, my partner was like, we should go to Manitoba. I was like, I'm gonna let you go to Manitoba this time. I'm gonna go next year. Like, I just need a little bit of a break, but I would love to go. The people there are fantastic. I mean, I have such a love for the smaller tracks doing all this. They have been awesome. They're fun, and especially if there's a casino attached. When you're done with the races, you just go to the casino. It's so great.
And you don't even have to go out of your way. It's just on the way to the car, right? Like, you're just on the way to the bathroom, and there's there's a hotel.
So then you do that, you go to the hotel. Like, I mean, you literally could live. That's why I did the Charlestown date night. What a perfect date night, girls. I don't know why you wouldn't want to sign up for that.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. The first time I ever met Bree was on the quote date night at Charlestown, and it was like, can we get these races done so I can get to the craps table? And it was,
I think that was a good one. I had like a stream. This is like, in fairness, if people are intimidated by Matt, first of all, this isn't a good way. The least intimidating person is Matthew right there. He's so fantastic and so nice. But if you are intimidated by his gameplay, understandably so. However, this works like this. People get real hot for a while, and then it gets to a cold spell. So, don't think that there's just one winner all the time. It does.
If you wanted to perfectly discuss that, I would be the cold spell at the moment, and Matt would be on the opposite side of the cold spell. So it perfectly plays out on our show here on Friday mornings sometimes right now. As I'm
in the middle.
I was going to say,
Sniper's just consistent, man.
Yeah,
Sniper's just always there.
Consistently, giving us some no chalk. I've always been this way with my friends. Like, they used to say, like, I'm so streaky that, like, you can make money just realizing which streak that I'm in. Like, if it's like, oh, Gino's starting to go well right now, like, there may be 2 more good days coming up. Let's just kind of ride him. And then the other way, my friends would be like, did you lose earlier today? I was like, yeah. They're like, oh, just bet against everything that he's got going right now. So at least you can sometimes handicap the handicapper. Maybe that'll help you out moving forward. Bree, we know you have a ton going on, but for this big weekend, I got to say, I'm a little bit disappointed. I had Delaware Oak Smokes as my initial name for the contest.
I know it's running. I know
for the contest. I was thinking, okay, come on, we got to go with the Delaware Oak Smokes for the name of the game this weekend. But that'll be.
We gotta get him involved. We should do a smokes contest. I'll reach out to him and see if he wants to do like a couple weekly things. I think that's so fun. That
would be great. So, anything else you want to mention? Because I know you're busy. I know you got something coming up in just a few minutes before you get out of here.
Thanks. I actually planned on handicapping before this, but I've so far have just been able to scan I know. It has been a morning, guys. Dead birds, dogs, everything.
Oh, no.
Yes. But anyways.
I don't want that.
No, I don't. I'm honestly Monday. I'm going to start spamming everybody about Monday. Check your Stable Duel emails because I will include some credits in there. Like there's a way to get credits and they are issued. I don't know what the best way is to announce them, but we did like a $50 free entry for someone the other day that answered. But yeah, no, if you have any questions, reach out. We had a bunch of new players yesterday in the Delaware from Spot Plays, HRT, which was awesome. And I'm trying to get a live stream together, but who knows, man? Who knows?
Bree, the emails, the marketing emails you saw a few weeks ago, they worked with the Royal Ascot. I got the email. It was perfect alert. I was like, oh yeah, boom. We sent them right out there. And the one thing I've always loved in doing work with you and you guys for the last few years is that everything it's trial, it's error, right? We're going to try a few things. If they work, we'll see what the customers like, what the players like. You listen to the feedback. You know what? Those games don't fill up as much. Let's take a shot and we'll do these ones instead. That's what it's all about. And in racing, we don't see it very often where tracks or maybe companies or organizations really listen to the customers and get the feedback that they want. And that's one thing that I've always appreciated working with you is that we have a really great relationship back and forth. You'll ask thoughts. What did you think about that game or this? And it's always been so nice to know that you guys really do care about the players and the bettors. And that's why some of the folks who are such big Stable Duel fans are so loyal and continue to play because they know that you're always going to take good care of us.
Yeah, no, we appreciate our players so much. We appreciate the feedback so much. And if it goes unanswered, I promise it isn't not looked at. Or if you don't see the change right then and there, it's not that it's not coming. Like I think yesterday, race 4 at Delaware, for the people that played the Delaware game. So in our original rules, we would just give everybody a 0 for that race. But we sat there and thought about it and we had feedback from the players and we pivoted right then and there. And we just said, we're scratching all these horses and we're going to do that from here on out. And so it's the good thing about being a small team. But thankfully, most of them are understanding. There can be hiccups along the way because of stuff like that. But we're here for you all and we appreciate you being here for us. So it's been great.
We appreciate you checking in with us this morning, Bree. Thank you so much. We know you're so busy and you got a lot to get to right now. Hopefully there's no more animal issues that you have to deal with this morning.
Well, if my cat kills another animal, I won't be there to try and save it. Not that
I was going to say, you never know what they're going to be dragging in when you get home on the couch. Who knows? There could just be livestock animals all over the place.
Like a pet cemetery on our patio. So bad, but
Bree,
that's life.
You are so awesome. It's so great to check in with you. Have a great weekend. Have a happy 4th of July. Stay safe. Have fun. Have a nice drink or two, and we'll talk to you soon.
Good luck, guys. Thanks.
All right.
Thanks, Bree. See ya.
Awesome. Always nice checking in with Bree Mott. Okay, fellas, let's dive on into this weekend. So I'm going Friday for Gulfstream. We all got a couple Friday Gulfstream, right?
Yup.
Yes, indeed.
Beautiful. Let's
get me to that sweet tapita.
Let's head on over. Isn't it funny this weekend that I saw someone tweet that, at Gulfstream, at Churchill, and in Southern California, there's no turf racing this weekend.
No grass racing. Yeah.
No turf racing this weekend.
Mid-July, beginning of July, and there's nothing.
Which was normally a huge weekend. And it is a big weekend, right? There are still big races all over, but it does – California, Florida, Kentucky, no turf racing.
And no rain either. It's not like it rained out.
No, it's just track issues. But let's pull up the daily racing form. Past performances, we're always looking at DRF Formulator. So my man Sniper, where are you sitting for Friday Gulfstream?
4, 5, and 8.
Okay, I'm in 5 and 6. So I've got those back-to-backs just like Barry does, 4, 5. What about for you, Maddie?
I got 1 and 8.
Okay, Matt. So you kick us off in race number 1. Tell us where you went ahead.
Sure. So race number 1 is a $54,000 maiden special weight 5 furlongs on the dirt for 2-year-old fillies, and I will go to number 6, defended 5-1 on the morning line. Will cost you $6,000, and so the number 6 is. It's interesting. This is a race where really almost none of these horses have any form. They're all 2-year-olds. They're all just getting started. And here's the thing. When you're in a situation like this with Stable Duel, there's only 8 races on the card. If there were 11 or 12 races on the card, this is a prime candidate of a race I would probably skip. Because I'd be like, I don't have a great feel. But if you're, with 8 races on the card, you're going to have to play this race in all likelihood, or else you're doubling up in 3 races, which you can do. But it's just, it makes it a little bit more difficult. So I, would prefer to stick to a horse that's around the average. And so that's what took me to number 6, defended 5-1 on the morning line. Like I said, only going to cost you $6,000. Trained by Barboza, who is winning at a 24% clip in first starts, 29% win rate for 2-year-old females. Also, you get Jaramillo aboard, 19% winning percentage. So you get one of the best jocks in the circuit riding this horse. Last gate work looked really nice. Should show that this horse wants to go a little bit, which I always like to see from young horses. Let them get out there, let them run. It's a 5 furlong race. You don't need to worry about fatigue too much. So let them go out there. Additionally, this is a horse that has some pedigree to suggest that he's going to be or she's going to be precocious as a 2-year-old. Kozan, the sire, 15% win rate for 2-year-olds, an 18% win rate for dirt sprints. And then Crown and Shield is the damn interesting 22% winner for 2-year-olds as well. So, clearly these horses mature pretty early. So you like to see that. And I just think, like I said, in a race where there's a lot of unknown, you kind of start relying on trainer statistics, jockeys, pedigree, and those things just lined up pretty nicely, I think, for the number 6 defended. So at 5-1, $6,000, it makes a lot of sense. You're not having to spend up too much here to, I think, get a pretty live horse for this race.
I agree. I almost used this horse as one of my picks today too.
Yeah. Nice.
He was the last one, last out.
Defended 5-1, going to cost you $6,000, right around that average there for Stable Duel. So we move from race 1. Barry, you said race 4, right?
Yes, sir.
Let's get you to race number 4. We head back to the dirt horse. 20,000. 4. We're on the
Tapeta, yes.
Tapeta, yeah. Here we go. Okay.
Or however you say it, Tapeta. Tapeta.
Okay, let us know what we're looking at in race number 4.
Yeah, it's a $20,000 non-winners of 2 lifetime, which especially on the Tapeta, ends up being like always crazy, chaotic kind of things happen in these sorts of races, and I don't think this one is any exception. I feel like there's a lot of speed in this race coming from the outside with Admiral Truffles. You got On Jet Air, who's 12-1 morning line, who has a lot of speed. Starting up, probably will have to show speed. See Como No will probably have to force the issue. So with that being said, I ended up going with the horse number 3, Quite Ready.
Did he just get scratched?
Did he?
I think so. I'm looking right. Yeah. Quite Ready. Looks like he's out. Yep. So we'll have to call possibly an audible there.
Good
on
call.
That one. Bummer.
Before I even
on
got
that
into
one.
it. Yeah, he's 12-1.
Yeah, and you know what? Yeah, so this was if we take anything out of that race, it's that this is a race with the vulnerable favorite that you were attacking and thinking it was a race. Right, a race that was ripe for possible price. And sometimes that's what's hard when we do our shows because we're literally starting them at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern time. Yep. Lots of tracks have their scratches come in right at 10 and then at like 10:30. So they start to come in that window of scratches, and sometimes we have to deal with them there. So Quite Ready wasn't quite ready to rock and roll.
I did have a backup.
Please,
because number 1.
Yeah.
Perfect picture. I think this horse will sit a good trip. He ran well back on March 27th. First time he got claimed in that race.
Yeah.
Came back on the turf 2 times, but I think this horse likes the synthetic a little bit better.
Yeah.
Blinkers go on, 20% trainer on the synthetic. You got to use that one here.
So the 1 perfect picture at 6-1. Nice audible call here for Barry. Very good synthetic form, and probably a horse that gets bet a little bit with just a smaller field. Now, even if the horse clicks down 1 or 2 to 5-1 or 9-2, you get a little bit better value. It'll be a little smaller field as far as picking up those Stable Duel points. The number 1 perfect picture from the rail in race number 4. We move to race number 5, and I've got one in this 5th race. It's the 1 turn mile, and I'm going to go to a horse that's not a win machine at all, but I think will fit well in this race and can pick up some points, and that's Cozy My Boy, the 7. So when we go through this field horse by horse, the 1, pretty quick, wants to be close up and draws the rail. Maybe gets forced a little bit, but I think they're going to be in the top flight. The 2, Noble Empire, I think they're going to be right on the lead. He's coming out of a couple sprint races where he was pressing the pace. I'd imagine he's going to be pretty close to it. You've got the 3, Our Private Jet. He is really fast. He just wants to go straight to the front end. He's coming out of 6 furlong races where he got the lead. Golden Juan, he's coming out of a 6 furlong sprint where he was right on the lead, and he's been on the lead in almost all of his races. His 6 races, 5 of them, he's been right up with the front groupings. Scratch the 5, the 6, Stormy Pattern. Again, another horse who maybe he can sit a little bit because he's coming out of some mile races, but he's also got speed. I thought it would set up at least for Cozy My Boy to be able to pass like half of this field and pick up some pieces. He's coming off of a nice emphatic win, and maybe that was one of those wins where it kind of, maybe the light bulb really goes on and you put it all together. He's one of a few who should just be sitting back and making one run. When you look at some of the horses that he's run into recently, he won his last start. Prior to that, he's facing a first level allowance Florida bred group, and it's a small group, but the winner goes gate to wire. And so he's not able to make up a whole lot of ground. That's probably not going to be what happens here. He's up against it when he's in smaller fields because he's just not as fast as some other horses. So at Gulfstream, a lot of the time, if he's in a field or 5 or 6, he's going to catch races like this, right? You see the last 2 races that he's lost to horses who won right on the front end. Mish came out of that race. He had won 3 in a row. He went over and ran in the Sexton Mile and finished second in a grade 3 there. So I actually think it's a pretty good spot for this horse to maybe just fall into it and pick up some pieces. I don't know if he's the best horse in this race and down the line if he's going to be the best, but he's only 3 for 30, but in those 30 starts, he's got 11 seconds and then 2 more thirds. So in Stable Duel at 5,000, he's a really nice horse to pick up some pieces to get you some points. I think he could actually win this race if he gets the right type of trip. Barry, who are you looking at in the 5th?
It's funny just to hear you break down that race, because it's like almost a tale of 2 cities on how we looked at it, but we kind of ended up in the same sort of situation.
That's funny. That's great.
Now a horse like Tapsational is a horse that I just love to bet against. Horses like that.
Oh yeah.
He's come up short several times at a short price. And I don't think he's going to get the ideal setup today for him either. And he's 5-2 on the morning line. And that really piqued my interest. Our Private Jet is another one that is going to show a lot of speed. And, I just have my doubts about this horse. If this horse doesn't get the lead by himself, if he's going to be able to kind of seal the deal.
I agree.
And he's 8-5 on the morning line. So there's 2, short price horses that are going to, that seem a little bit vulnerable. And I ended up with number 6, Stormy Pattern. I with the same reasoning that you had, Gino. About
he felt like the other horse that could sit. Exactly. Yeah. He's just not quite as fast as the others, and that might put him in a perfect spot.
Exactly. So if you go back to his March 2nd race, where he won going 6.5 in a state bred allowance, that's the trip I want to see him get today.
Yeah. And he beat, or looking in this race, Clapton, Yes, I'm a Beast, One More Score, and Klugman all come out of this race to win.
Right. And he, just the fact that he doesn't need to be on the lead, but he's going to get first run, really sealed the deal for me. Plus, if you go back to October 2021, He loses to Simplification first time out and doesn't really run all that badly. So, you know, this horse is always around it. I mean, you look at his record, he's 5 first or seconds in 7 starts.
Yep.
So, you know, he's going to be around. I think this horse can win at 6-1.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I doubt he'll be that price when they go off. I'm guessing more 3-1, 4-1 ish.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still liking him.
He feels what's nice of all of the horses that even have a little bit of positional speed. Like, he's got speed, but not as much as the others. He's drawn to the outside too. So he's not going to be as forced as them. He can like get out of the gate, sort of look over, see how fast everyone's going, and then just kind of track off of them, you know,
Absolutely.
and try to get maybe a jump on the horse that I like, Cozy My Boy, who might be sitting a little farther behind him. So we're both to the outside. We're both using 6-1s, and we're both attacking a race where we just don't love the short price favorites in here. That's Gulfstream Park for Friday. And we are both trying to spend around $5,000 in our stable dual lineups there. As we head one race later on the card to the 6th race, I've got one in here. Matt, I think you said you've got one more on the card.
Yeah, I got one in 8, and I think Barry does too.
Okay,
Yeah.
Cool. So we'll head from 6th to the 8th race, and I'm going to again go to the number 7 in here. I'm going to go to Foxy Lady. Now, Foxy Lady comes out of a race last time out against Open Company in a kind of similar spot. And this is another race, sort of like what I was saying with the way that the race shapes up before that. There's probably a good amount of speed that should set up nicely for Foxy Lady, because you've got Chatien from the inside, who's going to be forced in here to show a little bit of speed. You've got the 2 looking like a queen, who's been flashing speed most recently, and I think they're going to want to be close up. You've got No Decaf, who wouldn't shock me at all to see them right on the lead again. Missed the break a bit in the last few, so they may even be very intent on getting the lead, because that's when they've done some of their best work. You also see the 6-horse Emirates Affair, who you imagine they're going to be really close and right on the lead towards the outside. The 8, let's be honest, is kind of a presser. So now all of a sudden 4 or 5 horses, combinations of them could all be close up. Foxy Lady is one that's not a win machine, but you start diving into her recent form, and I think it's another situation where she's just not quite as quick as some of the others. She runs into Dema Wonder in the last start. Now, Dema Wonder has won 4 of the last 5 races. This is a really sharp horse right now. Look at the other horses that come out of this race. The 3rd place finisher, Captorini, came right back to win in their next start. They won up at Monmouth Park last time out. 4th place finisher, Viatemi, they won in their next start at Gulfstream Park against 8,000 claimers, and then just came back and finished second to Dema Wonder again. Like, keep running into, you know, like this really, really sharp horse. Go to the race right before that for Foxy Lady. Again, we're running into another really sharp horse named Frankly My Dear. Frankly My Dear, I don't give a damn that this horse has won 3 of their last 4 races. Another really, really sharp horse here. So the horse before that was Gitana. Gitana came out of that race to win the next start by 4 lengths. Look at these last 3 races for Foxy Lady. And in her last 2 races, she's been beaten by a combined length total by horses that are in awesome form. And she faced Open Company. She's back in with Florida Breds again. She's 8-1. She's only going to cost me $3,000 in my stable dual lineup. I think she fits at this level in this spot very, very well. And she just might be one that at first glance, people kind of look over and you see like 1 for 14 at Gulfstream, maybe 1 for 17 overall on the dirt. But showing you why in some of those races where she's run winning races and races plenty good enough to compete. Foxy Lady in race number 6. That's the number 7 for me. So I'll go back to back, just like the sniper likes to do. I'll be rolling them 7s back to back in races 5 and 6. And we're going to roll on over to race number 8. Maddie, who are we looking at in this 8th race to close out the
I think we might have the same horse.
I think
Something's telling me we might have the same horse.
I was going to say the same thing. Do you have the number 7? Is that where you're going or not, Barry?
Yes, that is the
Panther
horse.
Command.
Yeah,
Okay.
I love it. I
That's
love
the
it.
one.
I had a
Panther.
feeling when I picked this one out, I was like, oh, this is a sniper special right
7
here.
up,
This is-
baby. Here we go.
I'll just say a little bit, and Barry, you can fill in some others. I just Panther Command 6-1 on the morning line, only going to cost you $5,000, and just to give people, the 8th race is a 12-5 maiden claimer, 5.5 furlongs on the dirt for 3-year-old fillies. You can kind of begin and end this conversation with Safi being a second start. That really strong percentage, 28% win rate for Safi, maiden second starts, 27% route to sprint. I think this horse, if you look at the running line, just the first time out, horse showed some decent speed early, and then just, the mile plus was just too long. And so shortening up to 5.5 furlongs makes a lot of sense. Going on dirt rather than synthetic this time. We'll see how that takes. But it just feels like a very logical choice in this spot, and considering the connections and considering the cutback. But Barry, I'll let you kind of talk maybe a little bit more about what you liked here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in complete agreement. My notes on this horse says this is what Safi does.
Right.
This is exactly what he does. Second time out, makeover package, it's go time, and he gets his top rider back. I mean, this is they're going to try to win. There's no doubt about it. And there's really not much to beat in here. The horses that have run don't look all that great. The one looks okay, with the big drop. It could be a little bit suspicious not getting a top rider for a top barn. That's a little weird. But yeah, this is just, like I said, this is what Safi does.
And the running line of this horse, it's just like the running line you normally want to play for a horse who's turning back a little bit too.
Yep,
horse who was like sitting, moved into it, kind of sort of felt like they hit the wall and then backed up. Now they add the blinks to get them just a little bit more focused. It's like a lot of those little things that
it just has a feel of a race. They just wanted to get into the horse rather than, they wanted to give him the experience. Second time out, it's go time, cut him back. Here we are. Panther
Command. Hopefully their commander can do a little bit better than my guy Sammy Darnold did last year. I mean, he had a few good weeks to start, and then everyone's like, wow, look at what's going on. And then McCaffrey got hurt. And then when the pressure's on a little bit, things change. You start hearing those ghosts. You're seeing those ghosts again. They're following you. Poor Sammy, my old Trojan. Oh, shout out to the Trojans. Where
in the Big Ten now. All right.
What the hell that's? I mean, it's a money thing, but when they're playing at like noon Eastern on Saturday mornings and it's like snowing somewhere, I think there's going to be some of those 18-year-old California boys that are going to be like, what the hell are we doing out here right now? Like, where did this come from? So we'll see what happens, but maybe it'll be better for them on a national scale as we get ready to turn the page. I think we're heading to Saturday now, right, fellas? Matt, correct. You said you had just Gulfstream for Friday, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So I've got Woodbine and Delaware for Saturday. I'm going to take a look at both of those. Barry, do you have some Gulfstream for Saturday?
Yes, also? I do. Okay, absolutely.
Cool. Let's go to Delaware. We'll take a look there for a few. Then we'll bounce to Gulfstream.
And I have Woodbine.
And we'll finish up at Woodbine. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Okay. Perfect. So we'll go to Delaware. Matt, where are you looking for Delaware for Saturday?
I got race 3 and 7 for
Okay, cool.
Delaware.
Let's get you all set up for race number 3 and talk to us a little bit about the field for race number 3 and why you're attacking that one.
Yeah, so this is a really interesting. This is a $40,000 maiden special weight, mile 70 on the turf for 3-year-old and up fillies. And this is a race where, first of all, it's an interesting maiden special in that, like, the favorite is trying turf for the first time. It's quality road horse, so I mean, a lot of versatility certainly, but still trying for the first time. Therefore, I'm going with the 3, Queen Matcha, 6-1 on the morning line, $5,000. If you just look at this horse's turf form, this horse, I don't understand why this horse is 6-1, but I will gladly take it from a stable duel perspective. I think this horse is going to get bet down significantly. The 3 efforts, you're already ahead of me, Gino. The 3 efforts this horse has run on turf, the 3 maidens it's run, you already highlighted the one. The second race out was against Spenderella, who we just saw over at Ascot run huge in a grade 1 second place. The first effort on maiden lost to a horse named Ocean Safari, who was grade 3 placed and just won a stakes in May at Gulfstream Park. And so that was a nice race.
Yeah.
That Ocean Safari has kind of shown a lot of class coming back from that. The third maiden on turf produced 4 next out winners, including and then the winner of the race, Lady Pucci, just ran against Pizza Bianca at the Hilltop on Preakness weekend and finished 4th. I mean, so this horse has been running against really nice competition, and quite frankly, better competition than she's facing on Saturday. And so I just think if you just isolate those 3 running lines, you would just go, this horse makes all the sense in the world for this particular race. Additionally, she's getting the blinkers on. There is 0 speed in this race. So I think she's going to be able to get out there and just go. And I think it reminds me a little bit of what Brendan Walsh did a few weeks ago, or probably 2 months ago now on Derby weekend, when he put the blinkers on Santine and he put the blinkers on, Jersey, one of his other horses the day before on Oaks Day. And they both won huge. And so putting those blinks on turf is something I really like, especially because in a lot of those turf races, there's no speed on the front end. And if you can get out there and control it, it can really be to your benefit. So I just think Queen Macha at 6-1 makes all the sense in the world. Has gone up against some really, really good competition and has always shown herself well in those spots. It's not like she's gotten blown out by those horses. She's run well against them. And I think she's on her preferred surface now, rather than the synthetic or the dirt.
Yeah. And even in the synthetic races, 2 starts back, she ran into the horse who's going to be one of the favorites in the Delaware Oaks. Republique here, who's been really, really impressive in her too. So she's just been a little unlucky with who she's run into. I love that. And Matt, it's funny, like hearing you talk about it like that. We all like, it's not as if what you were doing is something that's like crazy or something that anyone can't do, right? Looking through charts and finding where those horses came from and who they faced. But a lot of times people don't just take the extra second just to like look up the chart, right? They might just see the first few horses they faced. And that's something that Matt Carruthers, when I worked with him, used to always do. And I would, when I was sitting next to him, I would always really like that he did that. And I would try to bring it into my handicapping and use it and talk about not only horses that came out to win, but like, where did they win the next time out? At what level they went out and won at Gulfstream in a maiden special weight? Oh, wow. That's even more important than versus did they drop all the way down to the, a $5,000 level and win at a smaller track. But I love knowing who these horses faced and what happened to them afterwards. And it paints the picture for you a little bit better when you're able to get that. And good stuff there in race number 3.
Well, one thing to that is it really is important to see that, the charts and stuff with maidens.
Yes.
Because, the horses are just so young when they start out that, you could tell who the fastest horses are initially.
Mm-hmm.
And you can compare it to those horses. And if those horses have been beating the one that you like, then it's going to look favorable in the end. And you can get sneaky prices that way too.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And we're always very lucky to be using the Daily Racing Form past performances and Formulator PP so we can dive in, look at the charts, pick up the replays, all of that real quickly, just one click capabilities. They have a huge 4th of July sale this weekend. So if you're someone who likes to use the DRF stuff, go right now and take advantage of the sale because you can stock up credit. So, the summer meetings are coming up, Del Mar, Saratoga, you're going to be using a bunch of these. Go save money right now. You don't have to spend as much later on when you want to dive in and handicap the races. These stakes races at Delaware, they're in 4, 5, 6, and 7. They're really good. They're really contentious this weekend. This 4th race that I wanted to dive into, it's a 6 furlong sprint on the dirt. Greeley and Ben, shout out to him. There are a couple, for as much as we complain about horses that don't run a lot or that don't win a lot or that are just, horses that a few times a year we don't see them. There are 2 horses and the connections I want to give a ton of credit to in this race. The one, Greeley and Ben, he's a 20-time winner. So cool. He's run 33 times in his 8-year-old in his 8 years. Then how about to the outside? You've got Sir Alfred James. He's run 11 times this year so far. I love that. I think that's awesome. And he's been in spots that have been a little tough for him. Look, he ran into Jackson Traveler, Jackie's Warrior, NY Traffic, and a few, but he is a old, hard-knocking vet who just always shows up. So super cool to see a horse who's already run double-digit times halfway through the year as we're on July the 1st today. But looking at this race, I think because of the draw of Greeley and Ben, it might be a little quicker than if Greeley and Ben was drawn to the outside because he's got some options. He doesn't need the lead, but because he's got the rail, he's going to have to at least be used early for the first 100 yards, maybe the first furlong to try to secure positioning. And then maybe they can sit off a little bit. But I think he's going to make this early pace in at least the first quarter of this race be really, really quick. I'm looking for a horse who may be able to kind of sit or track right behind. And the horse who I gravitated towards was actually the 2, Full Authority, who's right next door. So let's look at his last start over at Pimlico on May the 21st. Full Authority is the 5 in this race that we're going to watch. And I wanted to pull up the head on here to watch. So he has a bad start and just really no shot afterwards. So watch the 5 here. He's 2 from the outside and breaks in, completely misses the break, and stumbles badly. He bumps, and he ends up being last in this race early on. And normally he's the type of horse who wants to be like right up close to the front end, just to sort of give an idea, let you know where he ends up early. He just completely has no shot here because the horse who gets the lead. So look at where our poor 5 is in the back with the pink cap. Jackson Traveler, who got first call, that's the horse who wins. He gets the lead. He's your heavy favorite, and he goes gate to wire. So you miss the break in a race where the winner gets the lead and then just goes on and wins gate to wire. Let's just put a line right through that race. If you're crossing that race out and you're just looking at Full Authority coming into this race off of back-to-back wins at Oaklawn Park, where he sat off the pace a little bit, where he earned very nice speed figures, one of them on a fast track, the other one on the slop. So we don't necessarily think, it was just a wet track thing. Like he freaked on the wet track, because he also won impressively in one of those races that wasn't on a wet track. And if we're worried about the class, who did he beat? How tough are some of these horses that he beat? Well, that group on April the 16th over at Oaklawn Park, that's a good group. Seven Nation Army has earned $450,000. This is a horse who's been around and has been in a lot of battles. This is a really good, like, upper allowance horse and, probably a low caliber stakes horse. You've got Bank, who's always been a really talented horse and hasn't done a whole lot wrong in his career. And you have multiple winners that came out of this race in Isolate, who went over to Hawthorne and won a stakes race. You have Basic Chance, who came out of this race to go over to Prairie Meadows and win next time out. I think it's a good spot for Full Authority, who's coming off of a poor race last time out. And I mean, if he just doesn't run in the race at Pimlico, Matt, he's probably 5 or 6 to 1 in here. If he just doesn't even run in that race.
Right. No, absolutely.
But because he runs and it doesn't look good, he's a bigger price. Right. And we showed you why. It was irrelevant. He had no chance in that race, right? Like, he was never even going to be competitive in a race like that.
He wasn't involved. But I call horses like this the surface looker special.
Yeah.
Because people will see that last line and kind of dismiss him off of that and saying, oh, well, he's probably going to fall off of form. But he's actually a lot better than his last race shows. And, the horses have been beating him just much better.
Yeah. He was a horse who started to kind of peak down here, tailed off form a little bit, came into a new barn, and then they woke him back up. We see this happen quite a bit. So Full Authority at 10 to 1 was only going to cost us $1,000 in our Stable Duel lineups to use. And a fun race, Matt. Shout out to a cool local horse at Delaware. I know you always love to give shout outs to horses like this. Where She Told Me to Go is a 5-time winner at Delaware. And 15 for 34. So we've got a 15-time winner and a 20-time winner in this race.
No, that's great. I mean, you love seeing the local horses, and I think that's one of the nice things about, a big weekend at a place like Delaware Park is you get to see those local horses in Mid-Atlantic. I mean, this is a Brittany Russell horse, and we've talked about Brittany before with regards to Laurel and Pimlico, and so it's great to see those local connections get a little bit of spotlight. And the other thing, when Bree was on earlier, she mentioned there are some other tracks obviously having big days this weekend. Here's the thing, though, those big days, and I think we've seen this recently, can be pretty damn chalky.
I know.
And that's one of the reasons I like days like this at Delaware Park at Woodbine is there's a
These
lot
races
more chance for value.
Don't look like they're going to
races.
be chalky. They don't
No.
even look like they're going to have favorites, overwhelming favorites at all. Not,
No.
you know what I mean, with that short of a price. So
Exactly.
that's
Anybody that brings up chalk in a big day, I always point them to the 2022 Pegasus Day.
yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh
where
my
Fletcher
goodness.
wins 4 or 5, and they were all under $5.
So it's
Yep.
just
And
cool.
it's funny. I did really well in Stable Duel that day because I remember I went all chalk with the exception of 3 horses. And I went with Stiletto Boy in the last one because I knew he was going to run third, and I just was like, that's a good value. And then I went with Space Traveler and a Tone in the other
You got
one.
the worst ride possible on Space
I
Traveler.
did, but it still got me like a decent amount of
some points.
Yeah.
considering what the value was. But you're right. Like that was one where you had to identify like 3 horses basically in a 14 race card that were going to give you some value. And otherwise
You had
you
no
had
shot.
to pick chalk everywhere else or else
You
you had no shot.
You didn't even have a chance there.
No.
As Maddie, where are you headed else at Delaware? Do you have anything else on
Race
on
7.
Saturday?
Yeah, I got race 7.
Okay, I'll just briefly stop along the way and
Please
give you a couple to look at here because there are all some nice prices. Just the number 4 in race number 5, again from a Stable Duel standpoint, there's not very much speed in here. The 1 center stage has a little positional speed. The 2 could maybe be close up. I think this 4 horse gets the lead. This is a horse whose grass races have been really good. 3 times on the turf, 2 of them wins. 1 of them going long on the turf, just didn't really fire, kind of flashed some speed and backed up. But, puts 2 starts together here, could step forward. I think she may be able to get the lead in a race where there's just not much speed at all. The 2 horses that'll take a lot of money are both imports. It does look like Gisala is going to choose this race instead of the Woodbine race because she was cross-entered in a couple stakes races. So the number 4 only going to cost you $1,000 in your Stable Duel lineup, and you should get a good run for your money from a speed standpoint. I would, unless they go really quick, I'd be pretty surprised if she doesn't hang around for some slice in here because she should be able to get out front and at least show us if she's good enough. If she's not, maybe she runs 3rd or 4th in here, but I think we'll get a good account from Taswia, the number 4 trying to steal this race. That's race 5. And then we'll give a quick look at the Delaware Oaks before we head to the 7th with Maddie. Because then on the flip side, I didn't know how much speed there was in the 5th race. That's what's great is that how you may not like me. You may think I'm annoying. I would agree some of the time. And, sometimes liking is subjective. It's an opinion. But you'll never come to one of our shows and think that we were unprepared or that there's any kind of like a bias. I really don't have any ties to particular styles, horses, really anything, because in the 5th race, I thought the horse who was going to win or was the horse who could be loose on the front end. And in the 6th race, I think it's the opposite. I think there's a ton of speed in the 6th race. I know some people are like speed players. For me, I don't discriminate. It doesn't matter. 5 to 1 is 5 to 1. If I can find it there anywhere at any level, I'll play it.
You're like Baskin Robbins, 31
flavors. Let me taste that one. I'll taste that one.
See, I was going to big pun. I regulate every shade of that. You know what?
Yeah.
So,
Hey.
I love that. I think Republic is fast. I think Midnight Stroll, she got into some trouble at the start pretty early in her race. I think they're going to get more aggressive with her again because her 2 wins both came right on the lead. You've got Chardonnay, who's going to the front for sure. She's going to be right there. You've got Unadulterated and Frippit, who I think are both going to be on the lead. So I'm looking at the closers in this race, and I'm down to basically Morning Matcha and Shotgun Hottie as the horses who I'm really trying to look at and I think could get the trip. And anytime I have, horses like that, I'm always going to lean towards the better price. You look at Morning Matcha, last time out tried the turf. Let's just eliminate that race. It's irrelevant here. And then was in the Gazelle and in the Black Eyed Susan in back-to-back races where, she finished 6th in those races and she was just probably in a little bit too tough. Shotgun Hottie was a couple lengths in front of her in the Gazelle. In the Black Eyed Susan, she was about 15 lengths out of it, and she actually split the field still and closed some ground late to finish 6th. I think she will be picking up pieces here. She's only 6-1 on the morning line. It's going to cost us $5,000 in Stable Duel. Morning Matcha. And that's why I like the Delaware card, because I had 10-1 and 8-1 and 6-1 horses throughout the sequence that I thought you could make legitimate cases for. Let's get to the 7th race, Matt. I know you like a horse in the Kent. Tell us a little bit about who you're looking at in this 1 1/8 turf race.
Yeah, so I think this is another kind of Stable Duel special to some extent of a horse that is going to get bet way down, but you can get on a really decent price on Stable Duel. Now that's number 3, Elazar. This is a 5-1 horse. That's only,
and that's for the record. That was my play in here too. So we're on the same one.
It's hard to get away from this horse. I mean, it's
this horse should open up at 5-2. If she doesn't, I'm going to be shocked.
It's probably going to be lower than that, dude.
Yeah. I mean, this horse is going to go off at a ridiculously low price, but from a Stable Duel standpoint, I mean, you got to use this horse. 5-1, only going to cost you $6,000. Second start in North America for a Christophe Clement horse, bringing down Trevor McCarthy for the day. And this is a horse that last time out ran in the grade 2.
So here it is right here.
9-month layoff. The Pennine Ridge.
So she's the 5 in this race that we're going to watch right here.
And it was just totally up against it because Emmanuel went to the lead and was never going to be passed.
So she completely misses the break early. Then she rushes up and she runs right up onto the heels and then goes wide going into the turn. And as Barry said, Emmanuel is on the lead. Look at the fractions of this race. They went almost 52
Speed
seconds.
walking.
They almost went 52 seconds to the half mile. And Elazar is now pulling from the back. So I put a line right through this race.
Absolutely. And it was, finished 6 out of 6, but like you said, there's no speed in this race. And, everybody kind of finished in a clump together by and large.
And to be fair, if you watch Letterkenny, she actually did. I got a little premature there, fellas. Sorry about that. I actually wanted to pull this race, wanted to pull the middle part of the race up because watch where she actually looms up into contention to even after the slow fraction. She's the 5. She comes all the way inside and all the way up into second early on in the stretch. But the problem is Emmanuel's got so much left in the tank. Just playing possum here, right? Like look at where Elazar makes the run that you want. All the way up right there. But then has to do so much just to get into contention. And keep in mind, this is also her first start since October.
It's just up against it, pace scenario wise. There was no way that horse was going to win.
Right.
No.
And you can, like you said, you could just throw that out. And if you believe in that race in Chantilly back in October.
And let me tell you.
It was pretty good.
Awesome. She was dead last. And like early on, she's just like pretty far out of it. And you're like, okay. I almost like I kept looking like, am I watching the right horse? Because she's just at the back, just kind of loping. They just tip her to the outside. And like the jock just sort of looks over and she blasts by him. I always love when you watch international races, immediately following the races, they have the commentators who come, who are telling you what happened exactly when they crossed the wire. And the commentators are like, whoa, like they were like really excited and impressed. Like, look at the quality of this filly. And then, obviously something went wrong or some sort of a private purchase, whatever, because she's gone for a while. And then she shows back up here for Christophe Clement. Now first time Lasix also. Right.
And I think this is, we watched the paceless New York turf race, which I don't know if you've heard of that before, but it is
really
you don't say.
Jesus. It's just an embarrassment up there. But anyway, but this should be the opposite a little bit because the 2, the 6, and the 7 should all want some speed and should all want to be on the front end. So Elazar should have some pace to run into, which is going to be perfect. And really, even though that you could draw a line through that last race, the 82 buyers is still like the
still
second best
good.
in the field.
Yeah, it's still good. Even at
and-
that poor effort,
Yeah.
what felt like a poor effort.
And the only buyer in the field that's better is Wow Wada Summers' last race, which was on soft turf at the Penn Mile, which
Yeah.
which that one looks like an anomaly. And
he won that at 88-1, right?
Right.
And so
Right.
he was super impressive that day. You know,
Yeah.
you got to see if he can come back and kind of prove it to you.
Exactly.
The
Otherwise,
connections of main event too, Matt, to also piggyback your point and to compliment it, they've said they're going because
Right.
what happened last time out,
Yep,
they said they
exactly.
took back a little bit and they said he didn't really like the Churchill turf course. Really? You know, really? Not a lot of people did. Churchill
Yeah.
doesn't like the Churchill turf course, you know? So he took back and they say he wasn't getting over it.
Yeah.
And I would just eliminate that race for him. You're not going to play him probably at 5-2 in Stable Duel, but
No.
what I will take out of that is that he's going.
Yeah,
He's gonna go.
going, and the 7's going to go, and the 2's
Yep.
going to go in all
Yeah.
likelihood. Because the 7 that's kind of been his MO recently, and the 2 is going to go as well. And so, you know, if you have that sort of speed, then you know that, like I said, just makes things easier for Elazar. Again, is this horse going to be worthwhile betting? Maybe not. You probably will go off as the favorite, and
Yeah.
maybe a under 2-1 favorite by the time it's post time. But from a Stable Duel standpoint,
It's almost a
Jesus,
must
you
use.
got to use this horse.
You feel like if
Yeah.
if the horse is 5-1 and you're paying for a 5-1 shot, that's going to end up going off at maybe 8-5 or
Yeah.
2-1. I mean, that really wouldn't even shock me, honestly. No. So Elazar just gives you really good value when you build the rest of your lineup there over at Delaware Park. Remember, it's an 8-race card, and as Matt was saying before, when there are 8-race cards, you're going to have to double up in a couple different spots. So maybe you do so in one of those races we were talking about with you at Delaware for Saturday. So we all have a couple for Woodbine, but I know, Barry, you've got a couple for Gulfstream, right?
Absolutely.
So let's head on over to Gulfstream for Saturday, my friend. And Sniper, tell us where you want to look for Saturday. Oh, you know what? Before we get into the Saturday Gulfstream too, I want to give a shout out to our buddy Jake from State Farm. Jake from State Farm with Thrilling Picks. Jake is awesome. He does like live, like play-by-play of what's going on in the show a lot of the time and some of the things that we're talking about. And he was pointing out that he actually has an app called Competitive Composition that explains and talks about horses and competition. And it's called Competitive Competition. It accelerates the process. And exactly what we were talking about when Matt was looking at the charts and seeing horses who come out of their races and win. So I'm going to reshare that and I'll post that. Actually, how about this? I can do this for a second. I can do this bad boy. Here you go, Jake. You're getting a big shout out right here.
Oh, there it is
on the screen. I can even pull it up and show you. So yeah, he says key theory examining horses that ran against in recent races and have those competitors go on to win elsewhere. And he's got a little look at what his app looks like here. Pretty cool. So it's got the horse, who they ran against, the type of race, purse, all of the information, all the details here. That's awesome stuff, Jake. Really appreciate you sharing that with us. Thanks so much for hanging out with us.
You know what I want to see is I want to see all those people cussing at Gino in his DMs.
Oh, I was gonna say that's for when we do a late night show and we all pop open a few drinks, and then I'll really get into
open it up, baby.
Open up those DMs because that's where things can get a little bit nasty as we head on over to Gulfstream Park for Friday. Sniper, where are we headed for Gulfstream?
4, 5, and 7.
Okay, race number 4. Talk to us about the 4th race.
It is a lower level, not cheap. Lower level claimer, $8,000, non-winners of 2 lifetime.
There we go.
And again, I like these races because there's always some chaos. They never run to form consistently, and there's always some randomness to these kind of races. And if this one isn't any different. I ended up on number 3, Raising the Glass. I just think this horse has some races to go back in October of last year in November-ish. But honestly, if you look at this horse's past performances, she's basically every time she's run on synthetics has run pretty well, just hasn't
Yeah.
won. And this is a good spot because, I'm under the, I guess the motto that the late outside move on synthetic is the best move.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it rains. So if it rains and it cools off a little bit down there, speed actually does okay on the synthetic. But on a normal day-to-day basis, the late outside move has been a good one. And I think, Romero Mirage really rides that course well. And I think he's going to have this horse in position to strike. There's not much in here. I mean,
No.
if you like Vandalia, you can have that horse at 2-1, maybe even less. But I can't trust a horse like that in a race like this.
Not at all.
And it's just ripe for a price. 10-1 on the morning line, cost you $1,000 in stable duel. This horse should be coming late. I'm with it.
Cheers, raising the glass. Now that I've said that, we got to do that for one of these bigger days. We'll do like a night show where we can have a few pops, have a few drinks, sip on a little something, and then really get the blood flowing a little bit. Someone will say
Yeah.
something they're not supposed to say and get a little bit in trouble.
That'll
On
be
a
nice.
night like that,
I don't
right?
know
Me.
every time.
I don't ever do
Oh,
that.
yeah. It'll definitely be me, no doubt about it. I'll bet on that one early on, future wager. So we're going to, what'd you say, the 6?
Yeah,
the next
right,
one?
no, 4, 5, and 7.
4, 5, and 7. Okay. So let's
All
go to race number 5 here.
Yeah,
5
race
and a half
5.
furlongs.
Yep, 5.5 furlongs on the Tapeta. State bred optional claimer 20,000. So, the way I looked at this race, you got the one Hope in him. You have the horses on the outside, Exchange Day, who has a lot of speed. The one Hope in him has a lot of speed also. May not be ideal for the win, but is definitely going to have to be forwardly placed. And this horse needs to be on lead or near the lead to have any kind of shot. You have Big Daddy Dave, who showed a lot of speed on the turf coming into a Tapeta situation. Granger County likes to be a little bit forwardly placed. Henry's World, his wins on the Tapeta have been wire to wire. So there's a lot of speed here. So I ended up going with number 2, Loyal Louis, who
Nice.
again should be the late move. Hopefully, Louis Reyes or Lionel Reyes can get him to the outside and finish strong. He should have a great shot here. His numbers compare favorably with everybody. I'm not sure how this horse is so long on the morning line, but I'll take it. He's actually dropping slightly back into a level where he fits more appropriately, and I think he has a good effort in him.
Yeah, and the only
especially for
reason
Saturday.
why he doesn't win as much as some of the other horses, like around this
Pace.
level,
Pace
exactly.
scenarios.
It's just they're a little bit faster than him in these smaller fields at Gulfstream Park. But when he gets the right type of trip, he'll win, and he always runs his race. It just sometimes is good enough for 3rd or 4th. And from a stable duel standpoint, that's nice, is that even sometimes when he's up against it, he still tries really hard. He still wants to pass some horses, and he just needs the right type of trip. Loyal.
Hey, half his races he's been in the money.
Yeah, this is a great stable duel horse to use. The Deuce, Loyal Louis, in race number 5. And we're going to head to the Smile Sprint for your final play. I believe there are 2 graded stakes races on Saturday at Gulfstream Park. Races 7 and 10 are graded stakes races. And these are the old Calder graded stakes. We used to have the Smile Sprint and the Princess Rooney. So now they are over at Gulfstream Park. Wow, it is a really...
Yeah, when it was at Calder, it was the summit of speed. Now it's
Yeah.
more like the we're getting together because
Day.
of speed.
Yeah, they would have like 5 sprint races, right?
We'll
They
hang
have,
out
like,
together because
Yeah, I
we're
was gonna say,
speedy.
we all like speed, fast horses. Let's just make a party about it, right? The summit of speed, and it was you look around this weekend, and they're not big graded stakes races, but there are 2 of them at Belmont Park. There's 2 of them at Gulfstream Park. You've got 2 graded stakes at Delaware, 4 stakes races there. You've got 4 graded stakes races at Woodbine. You've got Churchill Downs with the Stephen Foster. there are a lot of tracks that have a couple stakes races this weekend, and Gulfstream Park has a few of them. So who are you looking at in the Smile Sprint, Sniper?
Okay, these horses, they kind of like beat up on each other a little bit. Gatsby, Drain the Clock, Pudding, Willie Boy. They've been battling each other for a little while now. And it's kind of like, whose turn is it now? Because they've all won. But I just think there's a quite a bit of speed in here. Despite the small field, and I think Pudding might end up being the horse that gets the trip.
Yep.
The horse ran well back in March and was laid off a little bit, came back in an overnight and got beat as the favorite, where the horse probably didn't even fit that day. And this looks to be more of the goal than that last race was. And I just think that this horse is kind of like a trip horse, not necessarily the best horse in the field, but a trip horse. And at 9-2, I have to take a shot.
When he runs against Absolute Grit and there's no other speed in a race, he's losing. We'll just tell you right now.
There's no way around that. Yeah.
Because he's not as fast as Absolute Grit. And that's what happened last time out. When he runs into some of these horses and they're a little faster than him, he's going to be in chase mode. He should, for the first time, maybe in a while, where he's had to be a little more forwardly placed, he could actually sit back, sit like 3 or 4 lengths off, and then just let him go and make one late run. And I think that's his best chance of winning this race. And he's the only real true closer, because you're right. Like I was even trying in handicapping this race to see if I could, in my head, get Absolute Grit to sit off the pace a little bit. Like if I could play it out that way, because anyone who does get that trip or takes that plan, they could get really, really benefit in here, Sniper, because they're going to be going quick.
Yeah. And, you could even give, a nod to Gatsby.
Yeah.
Even though that last race wasn't that great, probably needed it. And this horse doesn't necessarily need to lead either. It just depends on what kind of ride they're going to get. But I just think Pudding is the right horse at the right time.
That's on Saturday over at Gulfstream Park. So a couple plays from the Sniper for you as we will all head over and finish up at Woodbine on Saturday. Woodbine has 4 graded stakes races up for grabs on Saturday, and they're not like the graded stakes races that we were talking about, Matt, at some of the other smaller at the other tracks where they're smaller fields. These are massive fields. You get turf and synthetic, so lots of opportunities for some chaos. Where were you looking for a couple of your plays today up at Woodbine?
I'm actually going to the graded stakes races, so I'm in 8 and 9.
8 and 9 for you. How about for you, Barry?
4 and 10. I got one in the Highlander.
Okay. Oh, and awesome. So let's start in the 4th, and then we'll move along. So race number 4 at Woodbine on Saturday for Barry. Who are we looking at there?
So yeah, this is a maiden special weight on the turf, going a mile, that long 1-turn mile that they have over there. It's really strange, because you look at this race and there's like a lot of information to digest amongst these horses, and a lot of it is garbage. It really is. I mean, it's just a lot of much to do about nothing. You got the 8 Few Regrets, 9 Turf and Surf that they don't stand out. They're not very good. And you have the outside horse Galet, that's going probably to be the favorite, who I just do not like here. The horse did kind of perk up on the turf last time, but I don't know. It just doesn't feel right to me, especially getting the outside post. And that leads me to going into the horse that I think does have a really, really good chance to win. Is number 7, Now Is a Breeze. Yep. I think that horse actually
Breezy, of course. We got to go for Breezy.
had to do that too.
I've been meaning to tell you, and it was funny. I don't want to interrupt you, but I have to tell this story real quick. Our one of my next door neighbors has a new dog that they actually named Breezy, which I thought was awesome because the dog is like so chill and so go with the flow. This dog actually last week was on my grass and without a collar, no chip, the dog looked like there was some sort of an injury. And I had to do a recording like right after, but where I'm staying in Long Beach, I kept looking around. I didn't have any callers here with me or anything. I brought some food out, some turkey and some water to feed this dog because it looked really hungry. And my neighbor
just sat there,
and the dog just sitting there because, I was scared because I felt bad. I didn't want it to just like run out in the street, and I don't really have very much of a backyard here because I'm in like a complex. So, our neighbor walked by, and it was like a match. He said, "Oh, I'll keep an eye on the dog for you right now. Do you mind?" And I posted some stuff on social media. We did next door neighbor. We looked all around. We asked. Nobody said anything. And he was like, I've been meaning to get a dog anyways. Do you mind if I just keep this dog? And so we got this like beautiful match made now. And I see them every day walking right past my door. It's so great. And I'm like, it makes me smile every day. I'm like, hi, Breezy out there. And like, it's a little family that's together. So I'm sorry for my tangent.
That dog seems a lot more chill than my daughter. So.
Oh, okay. So tell us about the 7 now is a breeze here.
Yeah, I'll give her a shot here. Really kind of perked up on the, going 7 furlongs on the turf last time on June 5th. And Josie Carroll's stats, second off the layoff, are astronomical at like 42%. And it looks like this horse would want to turf anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, that last work on June 23rd was kind of the sealed the deal for me, a bullet on the synthetic. I just think this horse is coming into this race.
This is go
It's the
time.
now horse, right? It's the now
signal.
horse.
You feel it. It's like you got the race under your belt after the layoff. It was a good effort. It was like a better than looks on paper effort. And now you're ready to stretch out a little bit more, and you're ready to take a nice step forward here. I like this horse quite a bit too. I think it's a good spot for Now Is a Breeze. Shout out to Breezy, the Breezy, Barry's daughter, the more hyped up Breezy, and then the very chill Breezy, the dog who walks by me. And my friend Robert, my neighbor, he says, man, she remembers that turkey. He said, because we walk by your door and she shoots up to that door every time. I said, I know. I kept going out there with like thirds of that turkey. So awesome stuff. Now Is a Breeze. We continue along on the card at Woodbine. It is, folks, it's an awesome card. If you haven't dived into the Saturday card at Woodbine, it's really, really good. Matt, you said race number 7, right?
No, 8 and 9.
8 for you.
Or
Okay.
no, maybe hold on. Did I say 7? We'll see. No, yeah, it is 8 and 9. 8 and 9.
Okay. So the 7th race is the Celine, which starts the pick 5. One that if you're looking and you're having trouble with this race, you couldn't do worse than the 5 Join the Dance, who's pretty quick. So at least maybe you can get a little run for your money there with the 5. But I like a horse a little in the 8th race also, Maddie, in the Nassau. Go ahead, tell us who you're looking at.
Yeah, so the Nassau is it's an interesting field because it's got some name power to it. I mean, because you got Lady Spatespear, Plum Ali, and Crystal Cliffs going off at 2, 3, and 4 holes. But I like the number 8, Our Flash Drive.
We're on the same one.
Okay, at 8 to 1 for only $3,000. This horse just feels like it makes a lot of sense in this spot. First of all, you've seen consistent improvement with this horse. The speed and figures on turf just keep getting better and better. Finished second to Rogier last time out. That was a huge effort from Rogier, if people remember that grade 3 Begay. Interestingly enough, Plum Ali, who's running against today or on Saturday, finished dead last in that race. That was both horses. That was their second start back from the layoff. So it's not as if one was at a disadvantage over the other. And as you have up there, High Opinions come back, won a stakes race. The 6th place horse actually has also come back. Stolen Holiday came back and won a grade 3 next time out. So that race has come back pretty strong, even though Rogier kind of flattened out a little bit the second time back. This is, I mean, also on a certain level, just like what Barry was talking about with Josie Carroll, this is a Mark Casse horse in his element in Woodbine with his top jockey, Patrick Husbands, 25% winning rate on the year. Just feels like a really good spot for this horse. And I just think this horse is going to be able to hold up.
If she's anything over 5 to 1, I'm going to bet her, and she will be because of the other 3 horses that you mentioned.
Yep.
So she is in this spot, the number 7 here. So she's hooked a bit. Like, this is the type of trip that doesn't win on the turf, sitting 3 wide like this. This can win on the dirt, fine. Like, you can give up some ground like this on the dirt, but if you try to sit 3 wide on the grass all the way around, you never win.
At Belmont. Yeah.
Especially, it doesn't happen. There are particular turf courses, like at Woodbine, you can kind of do it. The ones that are a little bit bigger and a little bit wider, where the turns don't quite hurt you as much. But here, there's no shot. And it's really impressive. Like, so she's the 7. She looms up 3 wide, even after the really wide trip, and she takes the lead. And she runs like a winning type race in here. Top of the lane, she looks good, but she's immediately tackled by the 3-5 favorite Rougier, and she still runs a darn good second. Like, she's trying here to hold off Rougier, but no, I mean, when this, monster Rougier in some of her better races, when she's able to get clear sailing like that, she blasts by. Look at the 7 R Flash Drive, digs in here in the battle to hold on for second in a head bob. Like you mentioned, she went second off the bench that time. So now she's going to be making her 3rd start of the form cycle, her 3rd start off the layoff. You dive into her overall form, it all makes sense. Yeah. These races down here aren't bad at all when she's 4th behind Spanish Love Affair and Fluffy Socks.
No, not at all. And she should get a decent trip too. I mean, because there's a Lady Spear you would assume is going to go to the lead. And our Flash Drive is going to probably be able to sit a pretty similar spot as what we just saw, 3rd or 4th, sitting right around there, and then making kind of one run coming for home. But I just think at 8-1 for $3,000 on a stable duel, you're getting really good value on a horse that I think has the pedigree and has the connections to make you think, and the performance. Quite frankly, this horse, is remarkably consistent and doesn't really turn in bad efforts. So, like this horse a lot.
Our Flash Drive. That's the play for me and for Maddie in race number 8 at Woodbine. I'm going to head to the Marine, which is right next door.
Same here.
And the only thing that worries me a little bit about my play here is in talking with track handicapper Jeff Bratt. He joined me on my podcast this week to handicap these 4 graded stakes races. On paper, Ironstone should be the lone speed in here. I think from the rail, Ironstone should be long gone. What worries me a bit is that they are thinking about down the line and the Queen's Plate.
Yeah.
That's the plan for him. So they're trying to make sure that he can get the distance gradually, little by little by little. And if you've noticed in a couple of his races where they've been rating him, Jeff was saying that's kind of why, because they want him to try to progress along the way to see if he can really get that distance. If they just send him to the lead, sometimes you don't really know if that's the best way to progress a horse, right? To get them a little bit fitter and fitter and fitter. Sometimes it's by waiting and it's by asking on them. So if this isn't the end goal and they're trying to do that again, maybe he could get stuck into some trouble. But I'm going to just hope that he's going to the lead here. I'm going to just play that because I'm looking at this race, Matt.
Yep.
He had such a brutal trip last time out behind horses, trapped, and he was only beaten a neck. We could pull it up and we'll watch the number 1 Ironstone, and you can also talk a little bit about it because I'm hoping they send him hard. He drew the rail last time and it was, getting stuck behind horses, but on paper, it just doesn't feel like there's anyone that's naturally as close to fast as him in here.
Right. No, that's exactly kind of my thought as well. And I think it's all well and good to have the plans to rate and I get that. I mean, we saw that kind of very famously with a horse like Epicenter when they kind of very clearly were just trying to rate that horse to get him ready for a bigger race. But I just think drawing the 1 again.
See, look where he is right here.
Yeah, if he's in that spot, then you're done. And
you don't, and it's not like he runs well, but that's the difference between where he is and being where the 3 is, which he absolutely could have been, and he can be if they want here. I understand why the connections would do that, and I'm glad that Jeff mentioned it as it is a plan. It does make sense, but like right here, he's loaded and he wants to go, and he's got no room.
Yep.
He's waiting. He's kind of waiting. he's beaten out of that spot initially, but then what ends up happening, the spot opens up a little bit, and he just kind of keeps going he keeps the task, and now he gets to that spot.
Yeah.
But he's never really in the clear, he gets off, he's got dead aim right here. I would have loved for him to be on the front end. He's trying so hard.
He is.
In between horses. Like, this is a really good effort, but I just hope they put him on the front end instead of that move right there.
Yeah, I think being on the inside, they're going to, I think based upon that last effort and the fact they're on the inside again, I think you got to go because, like you said, there's nobody else really there. And this horse demonstrated has the ability to get the distance. That's the thing, is this is one of the few horses that's gone the mile on a 16th, in the past. And so, finished second last year at the Grade 3 Greg Stakes. And so if you look, like Rondour, who's 5-2 favorite, has never gone 2 turns and has only ever done 6 and 7 furlongs. So there's some questions about stretching out for that horse. I just think, this was the horse I also identified, 6-1, $5,000 on the in Stable Duel. I just think this horse makes a ton of sense for Ironstone, I should say. I'm trying to think back on because I was a big Perry Mason fan when I was a kid.
There you go.
And
there
Raymond Burr, the actor, was on
Nice.
another show called Ironsides.
Awesome.
Where he was a detective, I think he was a detective who was in a wheelchair, and they called him Ironsides. And so
Look at
probably
that.
not politically correct
Yeah,
anymore.
he
But
went-
anyway,
Went
so-
deep in the bag for that one.
I
yeah,
was
deep in
gonna
the
say.
bag. But no, that was just a slip. But yeah, Ironstone, that was my pick in the 9th race, 6-1, 5,000. I just think, again, there's opportunities here in these big fields to go a lot less expensive. And just it's going to make your stable so much easier to build with some of these large field stakes races.
There can be only one more race that we talk about, I believe. It's the Highlander in race number 10. Barry Spears has a play for us there. It's a graded stakes race. It's a good one. And if you want to play up at Woodbine this weekend, so the pick 5, the late pick 5 is 4 graded stakes races, and then the 11th race, which is this brutally difficult full field of maidens. So it's a tough late pick 5. Tell us a little bit about the field and the Highlander, Barry.
Yeah, I mean, this race starts and ends with your opinion on Bound for Nowhere.
Absolutely.
And I'm not such a believer, especially shipping up to Woodbine. There's plenty of speed in this race. And I'm going to go with a horse that I typically would not bet unless the circumstances were correct or right for this horse to win. And I think Saturday's going to be the perfect time, and it's Olympic Runner number 9.
Nice. This is a great stable duel horse too.
Yeah, I mean, he's 12-1. That helps a lot. But there's some favorable circumstances here. You have the 10 and 11 who are pretty fast that are going to get out there. You have the 8 that's going to show speed. The 7 is going to want to show speed. Tap It to Win might show speed. Number 4, Into the Sunrise, is definitely going to show speed. Chuck Willis, number 3. So there, I mean, at least from my projections, it looks like they're going to be lining up. Just trying. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I know Bound for Nowhere has some class edge on these, but geez, he's going to have a lot to contend with, and it has to do running from start to finish. Not saying that he couldn't, but it sets it up for a horse like Olympic Runner, who I has some class. Probably would want to go longer than this, but I think he fits pretty well with these and with all the speed that's in here.
Yeah, to at the very least be late on the scene for a minor award at only 750 in your stable duel
Correct.
lineup.
And
This is a
that's
great
perfect.
Exacta Tri super horse to use. If you just eliminate for me personally, anytime there's a horse that is sent to a long layoff, the last race they've run, if it's not good, I just cross it out.
Right.
Immediately. Because I just assume if horses are okay and they're doing well, they're going to be running, like they're not just not running for no reason, And so I always am willing to forgive horses, especially when it's at the end of the year, right? When it's at the end of a long campaign, when it's very easy to just say, oh, yep, this horse had 10 starts last year. So it just kind of tailed off at the little bit. It was on a good racetrack. look at the 2 good track races up at Woodbine towards the end too. It was a little bit harder just to make up some ground on those turf courses. Olympic Runner should come a fly-in late from a late like pick 4, pick 5 standpoint. The 2 should get a good trip. I just wouldn't play this horse at that short of a price in Stable Duel because that's a big field. But if you're playing a pick 4 or pick 5, this horse will get a good trip, and I would recommend not leaving Voodoo Zip out. The one other horse who's kind of a wild card to me that I would maybe think about is Silent Poet. The problem is what Barry was saying with the pace. They're going to be going quick in here, but Silent Poet is way better on the grass. And the connections have said so. You know, they tried the synthetic a few times in the last couple. Now they get back to the turf. This was last year's Highlander winner on August the 22nd, who won very nicely and, you know, was a grade 1 winner last year. So I'm thinking, you know, if you want to give that horse a possibility and include in some of your exotics, I wouldn't talk you off them at a price or maybe in Stable Duel, but I like Barry's play with Olympic Runner. That's a horse who I am using some of my exotics to come at from out of it. So that is Woodbine for Saturday. Fellas, it's fun when we're able to dive into tracks that are a little bit different, right? We haven't talked a whole lot of Woodbine or Delaware throughout a lot of our shows, and I know in the next few weeks we'll probably start transitioning over and have a lot of Del Mar, you know, when the summer comes up, and we'll probably look a lot at them. So it was fun to be able to dive into Woodbine. It was fun to be able to dive into Delaware Park. They have some big races. We know we're always going to send you a few at Gulfstream Park because the sniper's got that home court advantage down there, and that's where he sees the ball all so well. My good friends, I always love these Fridays. I love chatting with the both of you. You are awesome handicappers, and I look forward to hearing how you're doing this weekend, and we're always going back and forth and talking about our plays. Matt, you stay safe. You have a fantastic 4th of July weekend.
Thank you, sir.
Tell your pops good luck over at Assiniboia Downs and all those games.
He doesn't need luck. We need to wish the rest of us luck.
I was going to say, us playing against him, we
Right.
need the luck. Barry, I'm excited today to see some of those NBA free agency moves all weekend long. This is always fun now. We're going to see a lot of movement in a couple days.
Barry better not demand a trade from this live stream.
I was going to say, Barry demands
like
a trade.
You know?
Who knows? By next week, I could be wearing a Kyrie Irving jersey and like a flat earther hat or something.
Please don't do that.
I might just go all in with Kyrie, baby. You and me. No, I do
have to say, although Gino, I thought of you yesterday because one of my I grew up in Reading, Pennsylvania, and Reading High School's own Lonnie Walker IV just signed a free agency deal with the Lakers yesterday.
Yeah,
so,
they needed a little bit defensively. He should help them a little bit.
Yep.
He's shooting wise. He struggled last year, but
Yeah.
guys that at least come from the Spurs, I feel like they at least fundamentally are going to be good where they go. So hopefully he can help them out. They need a couple pieces for them. The big domino is obviously going to be, do they make that trade? Are they able to bring in Kyrie for Russ Westbrook? Talk about drama, right? All of these different stars who all have.
All right, bring in KD.
Like I said, please,
Yeah,
KD.
KD for AD. Swap them.
Well, the one that Brian Windhorst brought up on ESPN yesterday, and Richard Jefferson just went nuts. He said, "No, if that happens, I'm quitting. I'm repping." They said, could you imagine if you traded Russ and AD to bring Kyrie and KD both to LA, and you bring those two out to LA and put them with LeBron, so you get all the drama from Brooklyn out, and then you add LeBron into that? That wouldn't be anything dramatic. Nobody would ever be wondering about what people are talking and reading into people's words a little bit. So
they would go through 7 coaches in one season,
right?
I mean,
I was gonna
They don't
say,
need a coach. No coaches.
yeah, no, LeBron
just
would be the coach, and
There
then
was just they plug everything into a projection that just spits them out. Like there's just a robot that coaches for them on the computer screen.
Right.
You know,
right.
I don't know what's going to happen, but I know this weekend is going to be fun. If you're
Yes.
an NBA fan, there's a lot that's going on, and we'll be back here with you again next week. Every week, 10 a.m. Eastern time, 7 a.m. Pacific time for this weekend in Stable Duel. It was so great to see Bree this weekend for a little bit to say hi. She's so busy. She's always all over trying to work out new stuff for Stable Duel. So make sure to get involved in some of the big games that she's got set up for us this weekend. And like always, as we say goodbye, we say hello to Joey Cleveland.
Better, you want to spread your a pony gnarly